This episode is brought to you by TwoLinedMusicHutStore.com. TwoLinedMusicHutStore.com is your all-access to culture. Check out cultural merchandise like leggings, hats, mini boxing gloves, and bags. Also t-shirts like hip-hop, nature, rock bands, reggae, and dark fantasy. Fast shipping worldwide. That's TwoLinedMusicHutStore.com. Now let's check out this episode. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And today, we have a really special guest. Listen, this man is a living legend when it comes to the dancehall business from in the 60s right up till right now, 2021. You know, we have in the building today, we have Dennis Alcapone in the building today. What's going on, big boss?
Greatest Muscles. Yeah, man, I'm here. Still going on like a Duracell battery. I'm going on.
You get it. Thank you so very much for joining us here on the Entertainment Report podcast today.
It's a pleasure, and first of all, I must say I commend you for the work that you are doing, because all these things need to be told. These stories need to be told, and you're doing very well so far, by interviewing all these artists that done their work. Wonderful.
Thank you so very much. And especially coming from somebody like you that's been in the business so long and you've seen so much, heard so much, been so much, that really means a lot coming from somebody like you.
Yeah, thank you too, man.
No problem. On this program here, what we like to do, we like to take it right from the very beginning and then bring it right up till 2021. So my first question for you is this. Where did you grow up in Jamaica and what attracted you to music in the first place?
Well, Moses, I was born in Clarendon, a place called Crooked River, a district called Culloden. Mm-hmm. And I left for Kingston about 1 year old. When I went to Kingston, I was there for a while before 51 Stamp Blue. Some people say in the DJ trade, 51 Stamp, them never born, but I was born. And when I went to Kingston, I went to live with my sister. Mm-hmm. And her living husband, they had a gramophone. That's her common law husband. They had a gramophone, mm-hmm. And I used to play the records on that gramophone. And that's what really started me loving music, because there were some tracks there that I really loved, and I keep playing them, so that's where my first inspiration as a youth started.
Started right there. And what type of music was it that you were listening to then that you were playing on the gramophone?
Well, those days, it was 78 records, and it was rhythm and blues, calypso, all kind of different music at the time that was going on. I can remember one particular music called Red River Rock. I used to love that music. And there was another one called Bloodshot Eyes. Mm-hmm. I think the singer name is Wyman Harris. Don't roll those bloodshot eyes at me. I used to love those music, very much so. And there was another track with Jackie Wilson called Lonely Teardrops.
And what years are we speaking about here where you were listening to all of these type of music?
We are talking somewhere in the 50s,
In the 50s.
Way down there. That was in the 50s.
Yeah.
When I first went to Kingston.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's early because, again, you're talking 50s and we're in 2021. So then that's a long time ago, boss.
Many, many moons ago, man.
Yes.
Wally puff bird food crop, as we would say.
Yeah, I get it. All right. So then you're there listening, taking in the music and stuff. Was there any point where you decided that you wanted to get involved or you were just actually listening to the music for a long time?
No, not really. I was just loving the music. And when in those days, you used to have house party. Most dances was in the house. Mm-hmm. You take out your chairs and your tables out the house, and in some cases, people move their bed from out their bedroom, right, to make space for the dancers.
Yeah. So
whenever there's a party going on, and I find myself at that party, I would find myself around the turntable, spinning the disc, right, because I just love doing that. So whosoever keep the party would say, Dennis, you want to play? And I just make myself into a DJ immediately.
And who were some of the DJs or sound systems that were around at that time there?
Well, growing up on Walton Park Road, we had a dance hall named 28A Dance Hall. You used to have people like Reid, Coxsone, King Edwards, Sir Mike the Musical Dragon, Count Bells the President, and all those sounds, Prince Buster the Voice of the People, all those sounds used to come there and play. And I was just living about 2 minutes away from there, right? So I would just walk up to the dance hall, get a whiff of the curry goat that is cooking in the dance hall, because them curry goat, them days of bread, trust me, nice. And them carry a wicked aroma, so we would stay there until the sound string up and they start playing. I used to have some of the guys, them used to come and show legs, dance. We used to call it showing legs, because those days it was ska music was playing.
Yes.
There was a lot of dancers out there entertaining the crowd on the sidewalk.
So ska was really the order of the day at that time there.
Yes, it was mostly ska, because we were coming away from the rhythm and blues, because we used to listen to the big sounds playing American rock and roll, rhythm and blues. But we started our own music at the time. We had the Scatterlights playing some wicked instrumental, and the rest of artists that was singing in the early days, like Owen Gray, Larry Lakin, Derek Morgan, Prince Buster, and all those artists. It was really good time. It was the early beginning of the music, so it was wonderful.
For sure. And when did you meet Lizzie and Samuel the First?
Well, Lizzie is Jammy's DJ, because a lot of people think that Jammy's start in the 80s, but Jammy's was there from in the 60s. And Lizzie was his DJ. And El Paso used to rule Kingston 13. And there's a guy that live in Kingston 13 said that he's going to bring Jammy's to flop El Paso. So we were playing in Kingston 13, and Lizzie came over with Jammy's playing in another venue, and we flopped them. So Lizzie came over to my dance with the promoter, and that's how I met him.
Okay, so then you know what? Let's go back a bit before that then, because I thought when you and Lizzie, you guys actually built El Paso together. I didn't realize that this was something he came and joined it after the fact.
No, Lizzie wasn't on El Paso, Lizzie was just my friend, and he used to come to the dance sometime. But he wasn't playing on El Paso. He was playing King Jammy's sound at the time. It was Lizzie and a guy named Tony Boggs that were playing Jammy's, and I was playing El Paso along with Samuel the First.
How did you even, or why did you even decide to build El Paso in the first place?
Well, we got that inspiration from one night. A sound came to Brotherton Avenue to play called Kentone. This sound is from close by where you or I live in the same area, Cockburn Pen, and he had a DJ called Pompidou. Not the Pompidou that you hear in the 80s. This Pompidou was from then. And I watched him DJ that night. And as you know, in the early days, it was one man, It wasn't selector and DJ. It was one man doing everything.
Okay.
Putting on the records on the turntable. As a matter of fact, before that, the one man string up the sound, climb the tree, put the steel on up there, tune up the amplifier, and get the dance started. That's how it used to be. So this guy, Pompidou, right, when he was DJing, I just love how he was DJing, because he had certain style. So I watched him that night. When I wake up the following day, I said to one of my brethren, I think we should build a sound, because at that time we had the turntable and some records, So I said to him, I think we should build a sound. And Irvin Irvin is an engineer that later worked with Tubbies. Irvin was our engineer at the time. So I tell him to ask Irvin to help him to build the amplifier, and I'll buy the records, and I'll actually buy some more speakers.
Mhm.
And that's how we started.
And why did you name the song El Paso? That name in particular.
Well, El Paso inspiration came from, there was a record by an artist called Marty Robbins
Mhm.
called El Paso. I don't know if you know the record. Down in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican girl. Right?
Mhm.
That's where the name came from. And there was a sound at the time in Greenwich Farm named El Turo, right? So you had El Turo. Now we name our sound El Paso.
Mhm. And you guys, and what type of music were you guys playing? You say, okay, you guys have this sound now. What type of music were you playing at that time?
No, we were playing everything, you know. We didn't partial where music is concerned. We play everything.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We play rhythm and blues. We play rock and roll. We play ska. We play everything, you know, to suit the dance fans. You know, because people come on the dance in those days, you know, they like to hold them girl and have a nice rub, as
Mhm.
we call it. You know, so we put on some soft tune,
Mhm.
you know, and we step up the dance with some ska. You know, we play everything, a variety of music.
Mhm. And when did you notice that the song really started to get big in the area where people are really starting to request this song, El Paso?
When I made the lyrics one time, El Paso one time,
Mhm.
right? That that lyrics elevate me and elevate the sound.
Mhm.
You know, that people was coming to the dance to hear me DJ that song.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's where we start getting big. And I asked my brother to actually stand shorty so we could take some speakers and I purchased. Those days it was Celestian speakers.
Mhm.
So we took some 12-inch and built some more box. And this guy that lived in a place called Steel Lane,
Mhm.
right, always asks us to play there on a Sunday. And every Sunday, that place is rammed. People look forward to that. You know, so from then on, the song keep growing and growing and growing.
Mhm. And this is because, as you say, because what a lot of people don't understand right now is we're with the word even DJ. So originally the word DJ, how I'm getting to understand it, it came from somebody that was playing music, but then you also had a specific style about you. So it wasn't an artist at that time there. A DJ was somebody playing music.
Yeah, well, the DJ was there to jive the music, you know. We call it
Yeah.
jive talk. You
Mhm.
understand? When we play the vocal and we lift up the needle, then we would put on the flip side of the record, or we would just start driving the music and stepping up the tempo, you know, put more energy in the dance. You know,
Mhm.
that was our job.
Mhm. So it was never to be an artist per se. You just did this as a part of the DJ job.
No, man, far.
Hmm.
Most of that was far from our mind. We didn't think of him going in the studio. You
Hmm.
understand? We were just dancehall DJ,
Hmm.
you know, because we have to get the definition right within dancehall and dancehall music.
Hmm.
You know, the dancehall is places that we used to play
Hmm.
and make people come and enjoy themselves. That's what we call dancehall.
Hmm.
Right nowadays, they call a genre of music dancehall music. Well, music play in the dance hall. That's where music play in the dance hall. And this was going on from in the 50s.
Hmm.
You know, so we didn't set out to be no artists, none of us. Me, you, Rai, and the rest of DJs before us. You know, in my case, a certain producer named Keith Hudson, we call him the ghetto dentist.
Hmm.
He came to Brotherton Avenue to ask me to do a record for him. You know, because he heard that I was mashing up the dance.
Hmm.
You know, and he told me to come down to Dynamic Studio the following day, and I went down there and recorded a song. And it was, you know, in those days, people didn't recognize DJs of such, because when I did the song Muscle, I took the dub plate up to my ear the night and told some guys that I made a record. And one particular person said to me, "What did you do? Did you sing?" I said, "No." He said, "You play an instrument?" I said, "No." So I said, "If you're not singer, you not play an instrument, how you make record?" He say, "We call it DJing, you know."
Yeah.
Right? He said, "DJing?" I said, "Yeah." He said, it's a form of talking. He said, "Man can talk for music." I said, well, that's how far ago that was Muscle. People didn't know much about DJing. And when Uri come and mash up the place, you have a whole lot of people still didn't know what DJing music was all about.
So I think that it seems like the original vision was somebody like a Keith Hudson. He's seen what you were doing in the parties, and he just wanted to bring what you're doing in the party to a wider massive so it could go on the radio and stuff like that. So instead of 100 people enjoying it, 2,000 people could enjoy it all at the exact same time. In his mind, it almost seems like that was his intention.
Quite right. And another thing too that I'll propel him to do that is Uri making his first record for him, a record called Dynamic Fashion Way.
Okay.
Uri record for producer Keith Hudson. And when Uri left and went to Treasure Isle, I think he wanted a replacement. So that's the reason why he came and looked for me, because he heard about me mashing up the dance over there in Kingston 30. You know, and I did a record for him called Maca Version. And then I did Spanish Amiga, followed by The Sky's the Limit, Shades of Hudson, and quite a few more tracks. Right? And then I left Keith Hudson and went to Studio One.
Studio One. Okay, yes, so then how did the Keith Hudson song do for you? Did they get you any traction or anything, or that was just your entry into actually DJing at this time here now?
Yes, that was an entry into the musical arena. Thanks to him, may God rest his soul, because he's passed away. But Keith Hudson was a good producer and he was a good person, you know. But he's the one who introduced me in the musical arena, and I respect him for that 100%. You know, because he's the one who started my career. When I record those songs, I record as Dennis Smith, which is my right name. But when I went to Studio One, I tell Coxsone to call me Alcapone, Dennis Alcapone, because that was my street name.
Oh, that was your street name? Oh, I got you.
Yes, that was my street name. I got that name one night. I went to Majestic Theatre to watch a film called it's an Al Capone film with Rod Steiger. And on our way home, I was kind of clowning around. Someone said, "Look what is going on like Al Capone." Right? And the names just stick on me from there. The following day, I wake up with the name, Al Capone.
Crazy.
As simple as that, you know.
Crazy until you have it till this day. Okay, so then now you're saying Uri was the first person to actually DJ on a record and produce a record. And were you the second, or there were people after Uri before you came into the fold?
No, Uri wasn't actually the first person that DJ on a record, you know, because before Uri, you had Count Machuki, you had King Stitch, you had King Sporty. You have quite a lot of Sir Lord Comic. You have a whole heap of DJ that made record long before Uri.
Okay.
Right, but Uri made his first record late 60s. You know, but there's quite a bit of DJs. A batch was there before him. You know, like I said, Count Machuki, King Stitch, Sir Lord Comic, King Sporty, all those guys was there before Uri and myself.
But I guess Uri was the one that made it popular.
Right. King Stitch had a big hit with a song called Vigaton 2. And I Am the Ugly One. Quite a few. Fire Corner was a big seller for him, for Clancy Eccles. You know, but Uri is the one who come and actually turn the thing into a genre, a DJ genre. You know, because the way how we demonstrate his lyrics, the way how he ride the rhythm, the way how he could combine with the singers. That was great. And that turned the whole thing around. Because the first set of DJs, they would mostly introduce the dance and advertise about where the next dance is gonna be, tell you who is singing the record, and they would do a little on the record. That was their style. But when Uri came, no, everything changed. When he did Wake the Town and Tell the People.
Yes.
We just wake up one morning and listen to a new sound. Uri and Duke Reid, Treasure Isle Rhythm. It was a version of Alton Ellis, Girl, I've Got a Date.
So at this time, he had left Tubby's already at this time here when he recorded that song.
No, he didn't leave Tubby's, because Tubby's is the one who told Mr. Reid about Uri and also John Holt that told Duke Reid about Uri. But he was still at Tubby's, playing Tubby's sound. But Tubby's used to cut the dubs them, and Uri used to DJ on them in the dance, and I think John Holt went to the dance one night and hear Uri toasting over one of his rhythm and told Mr. Reid about him, and Duke Reid sent for him, and the rest is history.
Crazy. Okay, so then now he's out there, he does his song. So what was your journey like to get to Studio One? How did you get to Clement Dad at this time here now?
Well, as a DJ, just like Uri were playing King Tubby's and I were playing El Paso, and the word got around that I was a very good DJ as well. So like I say, Keith Hudson came for me and started me off with those records, and those records was going into the record shop, them even in Coxsone record shop. Coxsone used to have a record shop on Orange Street called Music City. So when Keith Hudson took the record them there, Miss Dad would hear me, and I don't know, but they got to like my style. And when I went to Studio One, Mr. Dad asked me to do a version of Larry Marshall, Nanny Goat. So I did that track and it did well. And we just started working from there.
Okay, when you got to Studio One, which other artist was actually at Studio One already at that time, or did you meet at Studio One?
Well, at that time, Studio One was the Motown of reggae, All the big artists were there, people like John Holt, Eptones, Delroy Wilson. Delroy Wilson not just left. Bob Marley didn't just leave as well, because they were saying for lack of payment. Yeah, but you had a whole heap of artists that were there. You had Freddie McKay. You had a young Dennis Brown. When I reached here just before Dennis Brown.
Okay.
And Freddie McKay, Sleepy Orisandi, all of those artists were there, because at that time there was an exodus of artists that was leaving Coxsone, right? And they would go to record for people like Bunny Lee and other producers, because people were leaving because they said of lack of payment.
Okay. In those times there, so it was a money issue from back then. So they figured the other competition was like Duke Reid and other producers at that time, they're Bunny Lee and those guys.
Yes, there was a big competition going on with all those producers, because I tell you, one day I walk into Randy's record shop at Parade, and Bob Marley was leaning down on the counter. So it's me and Lizzie. Me and Lizzie walk into the shop. Bob Marley was laying on the counter with his back to the counter. And when we walk past him, he pass a remarks and say, all who no boy who no fair work for Coxsone, right? If everybody will work for Coxsone, for DEAD, and if I go on away. So I said to Lizzie, listen to Bob, So we walk past him now and go further up to where the LP record rack is, and we were lamenting amongst ourselves and saying, why Bob really upset with Studio One. And anyway, I know we are back out. Bob showed to me and said, Al Capone, and there we are talking, but not for work for Coxsone, because I'm a thief. Well, we said, Mr. Bob, listen, me's a DJ, right? You ride there Treasure Isle, and him there in a good stable with some good ass there. So me have to find a stable with the next stable we have some good ass tonight. And the two big stable at the time was Treasure Isle and Coxsone. So I went to Coxsone because of the rhythms them that Coxsone have. Because if you can't ride donkey in a horse race, you have to get some good horse to ride. You understand? So that was my reason for going to Coxsone. That's what I was explaining to him. So it is what it is. I'm a DJ, and Coxsone have the rhythm then.
And that was it. And was there any other DJs at Studio One at this time here when you got there?
Well, King Sis was there, and King Sis was there, but King Sis, he's a different type of DJ, right? But when I went there, I was the one that was really riding the rhythms. I remember one morning I went to Studio One and Leroy simply said to me, why Dennis a DJ come here last night for run your foot at, Say, I say, yeah man, a DJ from Spanish Town. Him come record a tune last night. So I said, I wonder which DJ is that. Anyway, it turned out to be Prince Jasbo. Right, but this was long after I was there. Jasbo come and he did a song called Crab Walking, and the Horace and the Skylarking with him.
Big right there. So he was the next DJ that came into the fold, but this was a while you're at Studio One at this time here already. You already basically established as a DJ at Studio One, and he came in after the fact.
Well, I left to go on tour 1973 to England. Right. Now, my first venture out of Jamaica was Guyana, really, 1971 with the Barris Garden happening. Barris Garden consists of Paul Douglas, Lester Sterling. It was quite a few big names in the band at the time. Larry McDonald, Chinga Stewart was the lead singer at the time for Barris Garden happening. And that was my first venture out of Jamaica, Guyana. We used to call it British Guyana at the time. And then they got independence and they just call it Guyana. But that's was my first move. Got back to Jamaica and I got a call 73 to go to England. I remember one day I was at Orange Street by Bonnie Record Shop, me and Slim Smith. And Coxsone tell me to come the Friday for my royalty statement. So I said to Keith that I'm going by Studio One now. So Slim said to me, Dennis, you can drop me up the road. So I said, no problem, man. That time I had a little car at the time. So I carry him up the road, drop him off at a bar, and he invited me to come and have a drink with him. But I said, Kitty, I don't want to stop, because when Coxsone say if you come, if not give no excuse not to pay me. So I have to go him, so must come up this evening. So I drop off Slim, went to Studio One. When I went there, Coxsone asked the accountant to bring out my royalty statement. When he brought out the statement, Coxsone look on the statement and said to him, Jackson, what you do? You give me my money? So the guy said, but so Dad, you asked me for Alcapone's statement. This is the statement. Him said, no, give you my money. And he looked at me and said, Jackson, come back Monday, right? I'm going to start out your royalty statement. When I went back Monday, him fire the accountant, sack him. On my way going down to Studio One the Monday, I was listening to my radio in the car, and I heard an announcement that Slim Smith is dead. You know, and I felt so bad because I'm thinking to myself, why didn't I stop and have a drink with him? Probably I could
Yeah.
make a difference. You understand? Instead of going to Studio One, because Studio One, I never get my money. You know, Coxsone tell me I'm up a foolishness about the guy I give, and it was only 300 Jamaican dollar at the time. Even though Jamaican dollar was big at the time,
Hmm.
because it used to be 2 Jamaican dollar to 1 English pound, you know. So him just feel like say $300 was a lot of money for me. So that was the story with Studio One, and I left now 73 for England. And so from that day, I started traveling backward and forward to England because when I finished my tour in England, 73, I went back to Jamaica and some promoters sent for the Jamaica showcase, which consists of me, Dennis Brown, a guy called Al Brown, Sly. Sly, that time Sly was playing with Light Parks as his bassman. The band was called Skin, Flesh and Bone.
Okay, so this
Right?
was before Sly and Robbie.
Yeah, it was Sly and Light Parks because they were playing in a club on the Reddit's Road called Tit for Tat.
Hmm.
So they were a resident band in that club, and the name of the band was Skin, Flesh and Bone.
Hmm.
Also on that tour was the Maytals, Cynthia Richards. You know, so it was a big package going into England. It was called the Jamaica Showcase. That was a young Dennis Brown. The first time Dennis Brown is flying out of Jamaica as well.
Wow. And you're on the show, and he's basically the youngest one out of all of you guys going on this tour to England.
Yes, because I can tell you another part of it too. When Dennis Brown came to Studio One, I was actually the one looking after him because Dennis Brown had made a song for Derrick Harriott called Lips of Wine.
Hmm.
And his name wasn't established yet. So when he came to Studio One,
Hmm.
I I was there before him, and I always have a little couple dollars in my pocket, you know, so because I need to eat and whatever, and I would buy lunch with Dennis at their time. You know, our lunch is consist of one chop and spirity bun,
Yeah.
a Pepsi, and we're nice. You understand, right? So that this was a continuous thing, and anywhere I go, I used to take Dennis Brown with me as a youth. You know, I used to carry bike Kingston 13, Walton Park Road here, Burton Avenue, and sometimes me and him and the Heptones would drive out and go to the drive-in cinema out by Harborview,
Mhm.
and we was just friends, you know, going everywhere. You know, so when I came to England with him 1974, you know, I was more or less like a guardian to him,
Mhm.
you know. But
That's crazy.
what actually give him the spark now is when he did the song called No Man's an Island, a Studio One,
Mhm.
right? And Alton did write a tune for him to call If I Follow My Heart, you know, because Alton had a nice little guitar there, and Dennis Brown would borrow the guitar and ask Alton to show him a few cards and things, and Alton would show him.
Mhm.
You know, so sometimes Alton would come looking for his guitar and can't find it. You know, and he would be shouting, "Where's that little boy?" Right? And it's Dennis have it. And when Sleepy Harris and they came to,
Mhm.
you know, Harris did a song called "You Got to Be Sure of a Woman's Love."
Mhm.
You know, and that elevated him as well. You know, and he used to borrow the guitar sometime from Dennis and strum it. You know,
Mhm.
but these are really early days in the business.
In the business. Okay, so before we even get to you going to UK, because I know there's a lot of stuff that happened before you even got there. What was your first hit you got out of Studio One?
Is that song called Nanny Version,
Hmm. Okay, so it's
right?
the first song you recorded became a hit.
Yes, yes. Because I tell you something,
Hmm.
when I record that song, I went downtown one evening and one of my friends drove up on a van,
Hmm.
and I asked him if he's going my way. And he says, yes. So I said, I asked him for a lift. I jump in the van, in the back of the van with him, some of my workers them. And I heard this guy talking, saying, you hear Uri new record? So by this time I don't know what record he's talking about. So anyway, him said to the guys, Uri new record, but it called Nanny version, right? And I'm there thinking to myself, wait, this guy hear the record already? Yeah, him said to the guy, this is the new tune where Uri make, Nanny version, but that was my song. Right, but I didn't make them no wiser. I just sit there and enjoy the ride home. Right, so that tune was a hit from day one, because it was on the Nanny Goat rhythm with Larry and Alvin.
So at this time here, were they basically setting up the business for you and Roy to be rivals? That's what was really going on at that time there?
No, not really. Uri was doing his thing and I was doing my thing. You understand? The only one who actually tried to do that was Bunny Lee later on. Uri was in England. Bunny Lee decided to record Uri in England. And Uri did a song called, the lyrics in that song was saying, my name is not Alcapone, but I can tip up them tone and crack them bone. Right? So that was like a swipe at me still, but I didn't pay no mind because Uri is a DJ that I respect highly. So I didn't actually throw back any words. I throw some little slight punches still when I says, like, you said you're the best, but when I'm around, you're the second best. And if you don't believe it's true, all you got to do is try I. But those were some little shots, some little one-away shots, you understand? But yeah. I didn't put him on as any tracing kind of thing, like, no.
But it's just more like he's a DJ, you're a DJ now doing your thing. So there's going to be little jabs here, and you guys are both at the top of your game at this time here. So there's always going to be a little vibes, nothing too disrespectful or anything like that.
Yes, that's just normal. It's normal, but I personally did not have no hard feelings towards Uri, trust me, because Uri is a DJ that I respect highly. Little shots will show, few arrows will fly, you understand? But nothing aimed to cause any damage.
For sure.
We were just doing our thing, Uri doing his thing. I think the only time a little thing kind of come in is while I was at Studio One, Juke Reid engineer sent and called me. His name is Byron Smith. That was it, Juke Reid engineer. He sent and called me to do a song for him. This was a version of Barbed Wire with Nora Dean. Because that record belongs to him, Barbed Wire. So he called me to do a version of it. So I went to Juke Reid and do a version of that one. That was a success as well. So he didn't put my name on the record because I was at Studio One at the time. So what he called me on the record was El Paso. So that record came out there. It is Mosquito One record. El Paso is got on it as the artist. But that was me still, because I used to play the song El Paso. A lot of people used to call me Paso at the time. So he put El Paso on the record.
So he didn't want to put your name because he feels like
we didn't want to upset.
Got you. Okay, but I thought they were competitors in the first place. Where Duke Reid and Coxsone was over here, they were competitors.
Yes, but that was before. That was when they had a sound system going. They were more rival, But later on, they kind of cooled down with the rivalry. They're just doing their own thing. One of the things that kind of kicked them off again was Alton Ellis made a lovely album for Juke Reid and went back to Coxsone and did the same album all over and cast another riff between them as well. But apart from that, they were big people and they knew what they were doing, so they didn't make it bother them anyway.
Who did you at this time here in your career, when you have these songs out, were you still playing El Paso, or you just now turned into a overnight recording artist type of thing?
Yes, I was easy now for the El Paso thing, because as I tell you about the incident earlier, and there was a lot of other little niggling incidents that I felt uncomfortable about. So I didn't want to stay in a situation where I felt uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So recording kind of take me away from the sound thing. No, I'm just recording and touring, so I can take myself away from El Paso. Duke Reid actually called me this time now to record for Treasure Isle.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down there and do a song called Teach Your Children, which was a big hit.
Big stuff.
And when I did that song, I remember when I come downstairs, because the studio is upstairs, Mr. Reid was waiting downstairs, and he gave me a bundle of 5 shilling notes. It was pound, shilling, and pence at the time. Right? And he gave me this bundle of 5 shilling. He didn't give me 10 shilling, he didn't give me £1, pure 5 shilling, right? To make it look enough. So anyway, I was over the moon because I didn't know that the record would be such a hit. But it was really a big hit at the time because it was number 1 on RJR and number 1 on JBC. 2 stations we had at the time in Jamaica. So from there now, I started working with Duke Reid and Coxsone at the same time, but most of Duke Reid now. Because Uri wasn't there anymore. Uri went to England. And I'm sure, like you say, some little feeling would come there. Because I was watching Uri in an interview, and I heard him say some of his friends them tell him that how comes Dennis Alcapone has gone to Treasure Isle and Dennis Alcapone is driving car and you are only riding a bike, right? So he said that he told them that you can't cook in your car, you can't live in your car, so it's a house him want. So he tell Mr. Reid, so he want a house, and Duke gave him a house, right? But what they did not know, that Duke didn't buy me any car. I drove to Treasure Isle, right? Because my trade that I used to do was welding, so I used to work in the garage, so I had access to cars. And I later on buy a little car from one of my friends. This car is a car called Angler, a Ford Angler. Right, so I had that car when I go to Treasure Isle, but they thought it's Mr. Reid buy me the car. Mr. Reid never buy me not even a bicycle. So that was total nonsense.
But you see, sometimes it's not the artists that get involved, it's the people around them that has something to say, and then the artist is going to feel like they're obligated to say something because people are saying something now.
Yeah, man. All the time it goes like that, man. It's not the artist, them. It's the entourage or whoever is in their corner telling them the wrong things. You understand? That was far from the truth. Muscles. I had my car and I drove my car to Treasure Isle. Joke with money him give me, couldn't even buy a bicycle, as I say. And they have it to say that you look how long you there at Treasure Isle and look how much big record you make for Duke Reid, and you still a ride bike. You understand? Nothing like that.
How did things there when you started to record for Treasure Isle now, Duke Reid? How did Clement feel at that time there, Mr. Dodds? Because now you're over here giving him the hits. How did he feel? Because again, as you said, the money wasn't really running. He wasn't really paying the way you figured he should have been paying the royalties at that time. So how did he feel? You're now over here putting out hits over here.
Well, to be honest, I don't know how he felt at the time, because if he was not a man, we express himself them kind of way. You understand? But he wasn't paying me no money. I did an album for him called Forever Version. And I know I don't get a dime for that album. The time when I went for my royalty, it was for the album. And he told me that the guy is giving away his money. You understand? And I was to come back. But I left for England. So I never really go back there until the next time I saw Coxsone was when he moved to Brooklyn, New York. And I went there to look for him. and he gave me 12 album and $100 bill. Right? Yeah, so we as artists, we've been through it all, but we love the music. We're in it for the love of the music, not for the money of the music.
Mm-hmm.
We love the music. You know what I mean?
I don't think did anybody explain the business to you at that time there, or you just came in to record and you figured that was it?
Nobody tell us nothing. Nobody. We didn't know about performing rights, mechanical copyrights. We didn't know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There was a man that dealing with the performing rights and the mechanical copyright somewhere downtown. Mm-hmm. Someone did tell me about him. And I went there when I had #1 song in Jamaica. I went down to him and tell him that I have the #1 song and I want to register. He tell me that I can't register because I need to have 6 records in the chart before I can register, which that was bulls. Mm-hmm. You understand? He was robbing up the money, taking away all our money because we were ignorant towards the fact. We didn't know anything about performing rights or mechanical copyrights. So he was screaming it. All of the artists, them rob everybody, that man. Wicked man.
That's so crazy, especially going into something where you love it and you figured, okay, it's going to be enjoyable. Everybody's going to do their part. I'm going to get paid or whatever the case is. And then for it to come down with this, that's really the hard part right there.
Yeah, man, it's terrible, man. People just exploit us, because of our ignorance. They just exploit us. We're just naive. All we want to do is just make record and go out and enjoy ourselves. We weren't thinking that being millionaires from recording. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know that people abroad was aware of me. You understand? All I was looking at was Jamaica. I didn't know that our records was going abroad and making waves in different parts of the world. No idea.
None at all. Who did you record? Okay, say what
when
you're saying.
I first went to England and did my first show and hear people singing my records, I was astonished. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that this was happening.
What were your big songs when you got to England?
So much of them. Mm-hmm. #1 station, Alcapone, Guns Don't Argue, mm-hmm. Teach Your Children, Wake Up Jamaica. Listen, Muscle, I used to turning out 7:45 every week, 7:45 every week. Mm-hmm. You understand? So that's how the music were coming out. Mm-hmm. I made over 100 and odd singles.
In a short period of time. And we're talking about, this was like in a 3-year span, you had made all of this music.
I would say about 3 years, roughly.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. And who did you record DJ's Choice for?
Reid, Treasure Island.
How did you come up with that one there?
Well, it's to combine the effort of the rest of DJs, right? Because, well, daddy, this is DJ's choice. So, brothers and sisters, what's your choice, So, I would say, chicka-bow, chicka-bow. I would say, a tiddly-bop, tiddly-boo. And Lizzie would say, you got to eat this pot. Scotty would say, you better draw your break. So it's the phrases from the DJs of the time. That's why I come up with those lyrics. Mm-hmm. But I tell you something better than that. To be honest with you, I went to play Roddy's one night in Spanish Town. Mm-hmm. Roddy's a very big sound, from Spain Town, And we had a clash one night over there, and I actually killed him the night. I was just the David and Roddy's was the Goliath. Mm-hmm. And I used 145 song and take the dance tonight. Right? But his DJ is a DJ called Mango. Mm-hmm. Mango is the first one I heard uttering those lyrics.
Okay.
And it stick in my mind. So when I went back to Kingston, went back to Studio One, to Treasure Isle, I heard a rhythm there that the tune fit. Mm-hmm. So I just recorded it. DJ's choice.
Mm-hmm.
I had quite a bit of lyrics to it, but the idea was a brother called Mango from Spanish Town, who me and him become good friends later on, because sure I did murder him the night there. Right? We become friends. You understand?
Yeah.
But I was just the little David, as I said, because Rod is our big sound and Rod is our all of the Dublin. I don't see another sound of dubs like Rod is.
Crazy. And how much did you record an album for Duke Reid?
Yeah, man, I record Soul to Soul DJ's Choice with me and Lizzie.
Okay.
Because Lizzie was my friend now, I used to take you with me to Treasure Isle, and he would record a few tracks. I think the first track he went on was a Freddie McKay, Love is a Treasure track. Yeah, but he was a part of that album, DJ's Choice. That was the album I recorded for Duke Reid.
Because what I found at that time there, especially with the genre so new, they never made any original rhythms or beats for you guys. They were always, you guys would sing over whatever was already existing. So whoever had a track, they would sing a bit and then you guys would come jump in. It was never nothing new for you guys in particular.
Yeah, well, that was the whole idea of DJ business, because that collaboration that we used to do in that time, that was the whole idea, because we used to play those songs in the dance hall. So when the artist, the singer sing a verse, we would think about what to come next to that verse to actually elevate that music. So we it's like we get rehearsals in the dance hall in the nights. A lot of my records, I did them in the dance, and see how the crowd react. And so I go to the studio and ask the engineer for those rhythms and do some recording. Yeah, that's how that come about.
Just like there. And okay, you spent some time over with Duke Reid now. So then you said the money situation was a bit better than when you got to Coxsone, but then it wasn't really 100% at all. So then now, did you get to Perry after this, or this was in between the same fact?
Well, Coxsone was a no payment thing, right? It happened that later on at Treasure Isle, me and Lizzie started getting paid weekly, like we're doing 9 to 5. So instead of we getting money from a particular record, we were getting our weekly wages.
Got you.
And Duke Reid asked us to do some errand for him and things like that, So we were more stable at Duke Reid, Treasure Isle. I do recording for every producer in Jamaica, apart from Derek Harriott and Harry J. Every producer, because in those days, people didn't take DJ work very serious, Muscle. Right? They didn't take the DJ thing very serious. A man just want to hear you say, yeah, yeah, yeah. And him just record it. Him don't care what else you say afterward. Because that was the thing at the time. So hence the reason why I could go and do 7:45 for 1 week, different producers.
Yeah.
You understand? Because the DJ thing was fresh. Everybody wanted a piece of it. Because when the producers go into the studio, they used to have to carry musicians, make the rhythm, pay the musicians. Some would anyway. Some musicians will get a little thing, right? They would have to buy the time from the studio, which they would buy an hour, sometimes 2 hours. That is the independent producers, them apart from Duke Reid. Duke and Coxsone have their own studio. But people like Bunny Lee Scratch Perry, Joe Gibbs, and a lot of the others, they didn't have no studio, so they have to go and buy time. So it was a very good thing when DJ business come. So all they have to do is care about their tape that they already record and put it on, and the DJ would go on it, and they got a next record from from their tape that they paid how much money to make before. So it was very cheap to do DJ records at the time for them. Financially they were better off.
Because you could do more in less of a space, and you don't need to do all of this stuff you did to actually get the singing record or the original record in the first place.
Exactly. They just run the tape, and we just go on the mic and do whatever we feel like doing. It wasn't a big thing. They just want to hear we shouting or whatever, and it was brand new to everybody's ears. So that was the thing at the time. You didn't have to sit down and pen lyrics. You just did what come into your head at the time. They call it head tap.
Crazy. That's so crazy just to even think about that. Bunny Lee now. How did you meet Bunny Lee and connect with him and start recording with Bunny Lee?
Well, Bunny Lee was situated on Orange Street, I cannot remember the first meeting. And he was also living in Greenwich Farm. Derek Morgan used to be down there with him, Slim Smith, Roy Shirley, and quite a few artists were there with him. But my brother, that was it. My brother had a club in Greenwich Farm, right? So I went down to Greenwich Farm a few times, and I think that's where I met Bunny Lee, and Bunny Lee is the kind of guy where he was one of us. You understand? We could sit and joke and talk all kind of different things, and we could get together and have a good time, have a drink or whatever. And Bunny used to have a car that he used to drive around, and sometimes Bunny would lend me the car and me go pick up a girl or so. Yeah, but we were like that, so that's how I really met Bunny and started recording for him. I did Alcapone Guns Don't Argue for him. I also did It Must Come, a version of Better Must Come. Stick By Me with John Holt, called Jumping Jack rather. And the album I did for him called King of the Track.
Big. Because what I know with a lot of your album covers at that time there, it was almost like a real gangster type of vibe that time there, because your name is Al Capone, Dennis Al Capone, so you can't really have flowers and girls. So it was always like a gun, a cannon, something on the covers.
But it didn't really mean nothing. Them didn't mean nothing in them days, Muscles. Trust me. It was just gimmicks. I also did Al Capone Guns Don't Argue for him. And I remember when I was gonna do that album, Picture, Bunny borrowed some guns from Scratch, because Scratch had some guns around here that he put on the Soul Rebel album, Bob Marley Soul Rebel album.
Okay.
Scratch used all those imitation guns on that album. So Bunny knew that Scratch had those guns. So he borrowed the gun them and give me, and I put them in my pocket, right, to look like a gangster. But it was just gimmicks, really,
No, you figured that much, because it was never, your lyrics were never really gangster lyrics. It's just you were doing whatever the name was, so you had to have the same image to go with the name, Dennis Al Capone. So you got to look the role.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that was it. That was nothing serious. Because Al Capone Guns Don't Argue says, "I'm a defender, not an offender, and I'll make all bad guys surrender." Right? So it was just it was DJ stuff, driving, as we say, drive talk.
Yeah.
Didn't mean nothing at all. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Totally agree with that one there. Another big song you had, because again, you have over 100 singles in like less than 3 years. So you have a massive amount of songs. Another one that I liked and was a big song too was My Voice Is Insured for $500,000. Yes. How did you come up with that there?
Yeah, I want to tell you something better than that, Moses. It was Juke Reid idea,
Okay.
Yeah, that was Juke Reid idea to say that My Voice Is Insured for $500,000. It was my idea, really. You know, because sometimes the producers them have an input to, you know, and they would tell you what to say. You know, so that phrase was coined by Reid. Recently, I was watching an interview with a DJ, and this DJ is saying that Dennis Alcapone and Uri, Dennis Alcapone, baby out the thing, and Uri chicka bow out the thing. I don't know why people want to pop down other people to build up themselves, because to be honest with you, DJ thing come about driving, drive talk, you drive the music, make people enjoy themselves in the dance hall. It wasn't a preaching thing, it was love thing. I growing up listening to love songs with people talking about baby, darling, or whatever. Because me's a girls man, me love girls. You understand? Me not gonna make no record that talk about man. Me gonna make record that talk about girls and baby and all and whatever. So I don't see why man shouldn't have popped down people career to talk about. Uriah was one of the greatest DJ and is still one of the greatest DJ ever to come. Uriah is the one who make us all know that we could make records. Uriah is that man, right? So I don't know why people are saying all these things that Uriah chicka bow it out and Dennis Alcapone baby. It was a thing at the time. We are DJs. DJ was designed to drive the music. That's what DJ was there for. Nothing else. You understand? So let the people decide. You don't come on the thing and talking about Uriah this and Dennis Alcapone that. No, man. Hold your space and make the people decide about you, me, or Uriah. We had a lot of good DJs that came out in Jamaica in that time. People like Jazvo, Iri, Scotty, even though Scotty was more gimmicks still. But we were there to do our thing. So that was nice. I hear the same DJ say, it's him kind of phrase, love is lovely and war is ugly. So you make love and not war. No, it's not you. It was there before me. It was there before even you, Rai. That lyrics was always a DJ lyrics. Lad Comic said it. Count Machuki said it. King Stitch said it. So how come you come now and saying that is you kind of phrase? Love is lovely and war is ugly. No, Virgin, I know you. It did it long before you even think about music. That's a DJ phrase. And the reason why we use it most of the time is if there is a little flaring up in the dance and people want to fight or anything, would take the mic and say, love is lovely and war is ugly. So make love and not war, because if you make war, you'll have to stay far. You understand? That's what it was used for. So don't come and tell people about this you kind that phrase. You come long after that phrase was made. Other people think that. That wasn't me, my own, it wasn't you, right? It was people before us. So I put that record straight.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of misnomers and misinformation that's out there, especially when it comes to music, because again, when you live the life and you were actually the one in the studios and around, you know what really happened. Somebody would just come tell us something and we'll just, okay, we guess that's how it goes. But when you live the life, you know the real truth about what really happened.
Quite right, Muscles. You know, there's a lot of second-hand information out there, you know. You understand? There's not a lot of first-hand because people not telling their story. Right? Other people is telling their story. You have people who don't know Jamaica is talking about Jamaica history. Right? Second-hand information. You know, there's a lot of that going on. You have some people that would go to Jamaica and interview the people them, but they didn't do no research and know the truth. So people can tell them anything. You understand? People can tell them anything because people like big up themselves, you know. Them like to big up themselves, so they will say anything. And because you don't know as a journalist to say, no, it's not so it's going on. You just take it, you record it, and you put it out there in the world. And people believe, say, it's so it go. It don't go like that, trust me. Right? You have to get first-hand information from the people that actually was there at the time.
For sure. I agree with you 100%. That's why I'm happy to sit down with somebody like you, a Dennis Alcapone, that's been there from that before the real inception of DJ, how we know it right now. That's why I'm happy I get to sit down with somebody like you.
Tell something behind that. Moses, I should show you something, but I totally forgot to bring it closer to me. Can I just go over and pick up a little cup and
Bring it.
show it to you? Yeah, Muscles. I'm gonna show you how far we're coming from, and DJ wasn't recognized at the time.
Yeah.
I got DJ of the year 1971 and 72, right?
Okay.
And this is the cup. Look at it. This is the cup that they gave me.
Yeah.
The other thing on the bottom, a little black bit was on the bottom, but that break off, right? But look at the size of the cup.
That's crazy.
This goes to show you where I'm coming from. And people did not recognize DJ music at the time because they were giving me DJ of the year 71, 72 by this company called Swing Magazine. It was a magazine. It's called Swing Magazine. They gave me that as my accolade in those days. So you can see where the DJ business is coming from. Somebody had to work on the Maca to make the road smoother for others.
For sure.
You understand? And some people don't give people the ups or the acclaim. You know, they just come and believe that, oh, there's some mango on the tree. We can pick them. Them don't think about who plant the tree.
You get it.
Which is very unfortunate. You understand? Because there's a lot of people before me and a lot of ones after me. But you see, if you don't give credit where credit is due, when your time comes to get your credit, no one is going to look at you. You have to set the trend and let people know that you must big up the people and before you that did it before you, and then people will recognize you. Right? That's all the thing goes. Is that it's one long chain, and we all is a part, right? We're a link in that chain, the DJ chain.
For sure, 100% till right now. Because of somebody like you, that's why we have like a Vibes Cartel, a Movado, and these artists today. Because of somebody like you, what you did 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah, you must. That's why I commend you for what you're doing, you know, right? Because you talk to people that go on their own journey, right? You have a lot of unsung heroes out there who nobody hear from them because Jamaica has a way I call it now, tons of talent coming through every decade. There's tons of talent coming through. You understand? And people seem to forget the ones before. You know, in that time, that those people did something nice. You enjoy their work, but as another bunch of artists come, you forget those that was there, and then it go on and on and on until people get pushed way back. You understand? But there was always somebody who do the planting. You know,
there has
there
to
are
be.
planters and there are reapers, and a lot of them is mostly reapers. They reap what you sow. You understand? So they must recognize. That's why I commend artists like Lieutenant Stitchy. Anywhere Lieutenant Stitchy see me, you understand? He's giving me my credit. You know, Dillinger was my apprentice, you know.
Yes.
Dillinger was my apprentice on the sound. Trinity. Right? The whole of we come from in one little circle. Kingston 13. You know, so when El Paso is playing at night time, Dillinger would come over and I would give him the mic and make him DJ. You understand? You know, so, you know, Dillinger used to call himself Young Al Capone. You know?
Yes.
Right? He used to call himself Young Al Capone, and he scratched Lee Perry. Lee Perry said to him, when he went to record for Lee Perry said to him, no, you can't name Young Al Capone. There's Al Capone already. You are Dillinger. Lee Perry gave him that name. You understand?
Mhm.
So one and wash the other, and we are not here to pull down each other, right?
Not
We
at
are
all.
here to elevate each other. Let the crowd decide, because one DJ have his fun, the other DJ have his fun, and it goes on and on. You understand? Let the crowd decide. Don't pull down other people. That's not nice.
Makes sense.
You
Makes
ride
sense.
a king, and he always be a king. You understand?
Totally get it. Totally understand. You know what I mean? I got some more of your songs I want to go through here before we get to your UK here. Cassius Clay. How did you come up with that song, and who did you record that for?
I record that song for Bonnie Lee.
Okay.
And I tell you, Moses, Bonnie Lee had a session by RJ,
Mhm.
right? His session. And we all went there because, like I said, me and Bonnie Lee used to roll.
Mhm.
We were friends. And I went to RJ the evening while the session was going on. And after Bonnie Lee laid down his track, I said to him, Striker, I have a track I want to make,
Mhm.
right? So I said, tell the musician them on. At the time, I think the musician them was Soul Syndicate.
Mhm.
I said to them, yeah, I need to do a track. But what I want to do really, I want to do something similar to Jump Song, Jackie B2 Jump Song,
Mhm.
right? And they start playing the rhythm, and the rhythm sounded good, So I said, yes, I love that, So after we finished recording that, and the session was finished, Bonnie Lee said to me, Dennis, Jojo them a build a new studio. I said, yes, Joe, that is the Joe Ukim and Parley and them. Those guys used to have a bike shop on Spanish Town Road,
Okay.
right? And they also used to have a discotheque called Channel One Discotheque.
Okay.
They used to play music.
So the studio
Huh?
and the sound were owned by the same people.
Yes, owned by the same people. They
Mhm.
had the disco before called Channel One,
Mhm.
right? They didn't have no recording studio then. They used to have a big bike shop on Spanish Town Road, and then they start this little sound system.
Mhm.
And Bonnie said to me, you know that Jojo them building a studio. Let's go over there and sample it,
Mhm.
right? So why not? So we leave RJ now with the rhythms. Went to Channel One on Maxwell Avenue. Sid Buckner was the engineer at the time,
Mhm.
and Bonnie Lee put on the tell Sid Buckner was put on the rhythm, and Delroy Wilson was with us as well,
Mhm.
and Delroy voiced a track called "Can I Change My Mind,"
Mhm.
a track that Alton Ellis did for Studio One, and then when Delroy finished record, Striker said, "You're going to record your track Alcapone?" I said, "Yeah, why not? Tell Sid must put it on."
Mhm.
And he put on my rhythm that I made. I made that rhythm, not Bonnie Lee. I made it. It's Bonnie Lee rhythm and
Yeah.
Bonnie Lee session, but I made it.
Okay.
Right? Bonnie Lee did finish his session. Anyway, I went around the mic and I just, because those days, you feel the vibes, You understand? Certain rhythms. Certain rhythms give you a certain vibes.
Mhm.
So when the rhythm starts, I just start um, coming from the top of the mountain. The man called Cassius Clay is back again, bobbing and weaving and moving away. The brother
Mhm.
called Cassius Clay is the order of the day. So if you want to see some good exhibition, you got to see the brother called Cassius Clay in action. Wawa jiwawa boom, boom 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 boom. Jiwawa jiwo. Do your thing and make me see you swing. Brother, come on down and do your thing. And the rhythm a drop. Heavyweight champion of the world. Man called Cassius Clay is coming back to retain his title. So move away, George Foreman, move away. While the brother called Cassius Clay come your way. Wawa, Jiwawa, Jiwawa, Jiwo. Yeah, that's how that song was born. Muscles.
Big, big, big song. What did that song do for your career at that time there?
That was a big tune in England.
Mm-hmm.
Very big tune in England. You know, it didn't do a lot in Jamaica, but it did good in England.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just another Dennis Alcapone track in Jamaica, but it was a big track in England.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the reason for that is this was a prediction to the Muhammad Ali fight with George Foreman in Africa, right? I tell him that Cassius Clay is coming back to retain his title,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I was a Cassius Clay man at the time. You know, I just love that boxer.
Mm-hmm.
And until later on, as you know, it changed his name to Muhammad Ali, right? But when Clay came out, right, to fight Sonny Liston, I tell everybody around me, Cassius Clay is gonna beat Sonny Liston, right? I just admire that boxer, and I told them, Cassius, they laugh at me and say, no way, because Liston beat everybody, Liston even thumped down Cow and all that thing, right? I said, no, Cassius Clay is coming to beat Sonny Liston, and he did. First big fight, Cassius Clay conquer Sonny Liston.
Yeah. Big. All right. So then now you said, okay, you did all of this work. You amassed a big amount of songs in Jamaica. Your first time in the UK was what year you said was the first time you went to the UK?
1973.
Okay. So then 73 was the first time you went to the UK. So then between 73, when did you decide to actually move to the UK?
Well, after 73, I went back down to Jamaica. I had a bike accident.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky to be alive because I've seen what happened to Tiger. A similar thing happened to me, right? I was riding on Mullines Road and this guy came up from a side road and I run right into his side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I went to University Hospital. No, I want to tell you something, Mostly, you know something?
Mm-hmm.
This man was wrong, you know, right? This man was wrong. And because I was traveling on Mullines Road, he was coming off another road to go across the road, and I was going on a bus at the time.
Mm-hmm.
The busman stopped and called him out, you know, so I just run right in the side of the van, lick out my teeth them, my chin also drop down. You know, the man carry me go. Him carry me go straight to Alpha Tree police station. Instead the man carry me go hospital. Yeah.
Wow.
And when him going to the station with me, the police them said to him, where carry the man a go? You know, so the man a bleed bad, carry the man go hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And he saw him carry me to a doctor nearby on Maxwell Avenue and actually leave me. You understand? Leave me at this place. And the people then now get me to UC.
Mm-hmm.
And they patched me up at UC. And by this time my tongue was totally mashed up. Right? And I was drinking out of straw for about 2 weeks. You understand? But God is good and God is great. You know, I recovered, and this was 73, and then I came up on the showcase 1974, as I said to you, with Dennis Brown and Sly and Skin, Flesh and Bone and Maytals, and a lot of us came up. Mm-hmm. And from then now, that's when I met my wife, and she didn't want me to go back to Jamaica, you know, and we got married in 76. Mm-hmm. And then I was here from then. You know, I go back to Jamaica on a yearly basis, but most of the time I spend in England.
Okay, because I know at the time when you permanently left from Jamaica and moved to the UK, you were still doing a bit of recording, but your career has slowed down a lot from that time there. Like you took a break at one point.
Yes, because what really happened now, the company that was putting out our records, you know, they got liquidated. It was Trojan Records, mm-hmm. You know, and they got liquidated. and the music it kind of put on hold because there was no one distributing the music. This company, this man named Marcel Rad buy the company, and he wasn't doing nothing with the catalog of music either. And he sold the company to this Italian man named Colin Newman, who started to distribute some record again, and then we started touring because we were in demand again because the record was going out to Europe and other places, but most of we get robbed left, right, and center by these people. We get total exploited. There's a lot of exploitation going on because Colin Newman bought Trojan for 85,000 and sold it to Sanctuary Records for 10.2 million. We the artists don't get nothing. You understand? This man that sold the company and get 10.8 million for it didn't give us a dime. This Italian man didn't give us a dime. Him don't know Jamaica. Him don't know how inside our studio in Jamaica look. And he sold us down the river. But right now we are doing some work to get back some money. We have some people on the case at the moment, but show business, music business, not a easy business.
No, and it's been, I guess, outside of performing, that's been your saving grace, was performing, where nobody could touch that money there. That's your money. So then that's what saved you. Because when it came to the recording, that was a totally different story altogether.
Yeah, but you see, I tell you something, mostly. You see, people are devious, People don't think about others, They just think about themselves. You understand? They don't think that we have to eat. We have to pay bills. Nothing. We're not supposed to have nothing. They're alone supposed to live. Selfish. Very selfish people.
It's crazy, especially now that we're sitting down speaking to a lot of these people now. You really hear what happened behind the scene. One question I never really ask anybody, you're going to be the first I get to ask now. I know producers did foolishness. You got into the issue with you and Studio One and stuff like that. But you as an artist now, was there any time in your career where, I don't know, because clearly there was no internet around, was there any book that you could figure out the business, somebody else you could ask about the business so you could become a better person in the business?
Yes, I've got someone in my corner at the moment, right, that's actually taking these guys to court. If they don't want to cooperate, my team is going to take them to court to get our reward, what was due to us in the first place. So hopefully that will materialize, and everybody else that got robbed in the early stage of their life, because we have a lot of people on board at the moment, people that has been exploited. He recovered some monies already, and some people get some money, right? But he's going for all of them, because now Sanctuary sell out their share to Universal. Universal sell out their catalog to BMG. So BMG is where it's at the moment. BMG's got the Trojan catalog at the moment.
Okay.
Right? But the thing is, BMG bought an illegal company. You understand? Because what they were doing all along was illegal. Because we didn't sign no contract with them. They took the materials from the producers. The producers, them in Jamaica, them come here, sell out our records, get what they get, and go back to Jamaica. When they come back down, they don't give us nothing. We don't know what is going on. You understand? So as long as their pot was on fire, everything is all right. Nobody else pot's supposed to go on fire. You have a lot of artists now in Jamaica that have kids, and the kids is not getting nothing from their father estate because other people is robbing them, other people is exploiting them, and wouldn't give them something. All they give them is nothing.
Because you would think with like a catalog like what you have, especially over 100 singles, how many albums do you have?
12.
12 albums, 100 singles, and all of these stuff here, that at this stage in your career, you'd be pretty decent right now with the publishing, royalties, whatever else comes from the back end. You would figure at this point in your career, you'd be all right from that. And performance would be something that you would do occasionally. You don't have to really do it. That's not really your thing to get the income.
I'll tell you something, Muscles. Mm-hmm. When I came here, 1974, I went to a show in a place called Reid. I wasn't actually performing that night. Dennis Brown and Sly was performing, and Maytals were performing the night. So I decided to accompany them there because we were one group together. Mm-hmm. So I went to the show and I decided to sit in the audience, right, and watch the show. A couple guys that was there, some white kids saw me, and one of them said to his friend, "That's Dennis Alcapone." The friend said, "Nah." So anyway, when the concert finished and we were going outside, I was walking towards the car that took me. The car at the time was a car called Cartina. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a Cartina, a Ford car. So while we were driving out of that venue car park, we see the same set of youths them again, and the little youths said to their in front, "There's Dennis Alcapone in that car." Mm-hmm. So the one said to him, "I tell you, that's not Dennis Alcapone. Dennis Alcapone will be driving in a Cartina." That is telling you something. Mm-hmm. You understand? You may expect to see me driving a Rolls Royce or a Bentley, right? Well, look at him know that Dennis Alcapone wasn't making them kind of money. Mm-hmm. You know, because I came on the TV, when I came up 1973, I came on the BBC 2 TV, mm-hmm. you know, along with Pioneers, Nicky Thomas, and the Marvels, mm-hmm. you know. So people see you now on TV, they believe that you got loads of money. Mm-hmm. Little did they know that we just about could find food to eat.
It's been a very interesting ride in this business to see what really happens behind the scenes. And these are some massive songs that people still play and enjoy to this day. You understand? To this day.
Listen, Muscles, I've got a song now playing for 30 years in Jamaica every Sunday called Teach the Children. Mm-hmm. It's the introduction for a program they call Teacher's Time. Mm-hmm. It's playing in Jamaica for 30 years every Sunday, and I don't get a dime from it. You understand? When I went to Jamaica, I went to RGR mm-hmm. and asked them how comes no revenue is not coming from my record. Mm-hmm. You know, I went to the publishing company in Jamaica called JCap. Mm-hmm. And I asked JCap, what happened to my royalties? You guys down here collecting royalties? Mm-hmm. Them said, no, I have to ask my publishers in England. Mm-hmm. Right? I must talk to PRS in England mm-hmm. because that's the one I joined. You know, when I go to PRS said they get no money from Jamaica. So I don't know. I engaged a lawyer from Jamaica, a lady lawyer, no fee lawyer. And she told me that I've got a case, you know, and because performing rights, you know, as long as your song play on the radio, you know, that's performing rights.
Yes.
That's a performance, mm-hmm. right? So RGR is supposed to be paying me from 30 years ago. The lady, I left her in Jamaica now to deal with that. Mm-hmm. When I spoke to her the next time, she said she's still looking into it. Then the next time she tell me, oh, RGR says it's a government program. so they don't pay for government program. So they use my record, teach the children for 30 odd years, and I don't get a dime. We're still working on that at the moment, because to me, that's totally wrong.
I agree with that for sure. Even if it's something where they worked out a one-time lump sum payment and they just bought you out and said, okay, because this is for government, we're just going to give you this one-time payment and we'll never see you again. At least that, not just nothing.
Exactly. Give me something. You know what I mean? You've been using my stuff. You see the same record you mentioned earlier, Cassius Clay. The BBC used Cassius Clay in a documentary with Muhammad Ali, right? My publisher at the time was a publishing company called Flow Sound Music. And the publisher called me very excited and tell me that BBC wanted to use Cassius Clay in the Muhammad Ali documentary. And he was really happy. So there's supposed to be money there for me, right? That he was a solicitor as well. Next thing I hear, he hung himself. You understand? No money coming from that. Up to today, I don't get a dime. And they use Cassius Clay in the Muhammad Ali documentary. I didn't even get credit. They gave me no credit.
This is crazy,
you understand?
Boss.
So this business is not a nice business. That's why they said there's no business like show business.
They weren't lying, because again, you would expect that things wouldn't be like this, especially in 2021. Okay, we understand in the early part. I explained this to somebody already. I think producers and artists didn't know what was going on. But I think at one point now, producers started to learn the game and didn't tell the artists what was going on. So you figured fast forward now to 2021, everything from back then would be worked out, but it's still not being worked out, boss?
Well, they are all in bed together, producers and the big companies, because as long as the producer get his share, business is about nobody else. You understand? And that's how they operate. I remember when I was coming to England, 1973. I was at my home in Pembroke. I was living in Pembroke at the time. I was at my home and Bonnerly came there. And he said to me, Dennis, like when you're going to England, you're supposed to work with the LP, work with the music so you can do a little hustling, right? Because you can't just go to show money alone can't build up your thing. Carry album with you so you can sell it. We say, all right, that sounds reasonable. Some say, let's go and buy King Tubby's and record the album. And Muscles, I went with him the day to Tubby's and we record that album in less than 2 hours. Right?
Yeah.
When I finished doing the album, I said to him, so Striker, where's the tape? Because I'm leaving the Monday for England. He said, but him have to mix it. Him have to mix it. Him have to mix it. And him coming up next week, he will carry the tape. Muscles, I'm in England for 6 weeks, no Bunny Lee. Right? When I went back to Jamaica, Bunny Lee came up to England, sold the album, and don't give me a dime, not even a drink. You understand? That album's supposed to be me and him album.
Which album are we speaking about here?
Huh?
Which album are we speaking about here?
It's called King of the Track. King of the Track. He sold it to a company over here called Magnet. Right? Not a dime. Him come back to Jamaica. But, those guys just believe so them clever. They find those things as joke. You understand? But as Brother Nancy said, what is joke to you is dead to him. But they take us for granted. You understand? They expect us to live on water and bread or nothing at all.
And especially coming from somebody that's supposed to be your friend. that you guys are hanging out and doing all this stuff here. You would expect something a bit better than that.
Exactly. They're not friend of me. You understand? No friend at all. Because you don't treat your friend like that. But that's how there was. You know, what in life you live and learn.
Yeah.
Moses, you live and learn. You understand? And every day is a learning process for me. With human being. Human being are not nice things them. You understand? No care how you think say you and them good.
Yeah.
You later on you get a rude awakening. You know? So it's a minefield, brethren. We're going through a minefield and a battlefield, you know. But we give thanks to life, you know.
You understand.
Because when you check it, a lot of people are run down wealth and now watch them health. Because all of them who rob me gone, you know. All of them who rob me gone and them can't carry nothing with them. You understand? All of the money other people are spend it. The money where them rob from me, other people are spend it because them under the ground. The whole of them where you hear me mention, the Bunny Lee, the Coxsone, the Joe Reid, the Joe Gibbs, you name them, they're under the ground and them didn't carry nothing with them. You know, so it goes to show how great God is. God not sleep, brethren. He might watch everything. But I prefer long life and good health than wealth.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. And that's why I'm so glad I get to have these conversations with people like you that's been in the business and really understands it for what it really is. You understand?
I listen to a lot of your interviews, you know, with people, you know, and I hear most of them have a similar story. Up to today, we're in 2021 now, and the same thing is going on. People are getting robbed in Jamaica, left, right, and center. You know, if it wasn't for live performance, I don't know what people would do. Because the so-called producers, them not good brethren. Them all for themselves. Them not look out. Them not things well know the artists have kids and grandkids that need money to live. No. Them things said them alone for have everything. And it's still going on today, which is very unfortunate.
It doesn't make sense at all. But
make no sense. Make no sense.
Yeah. But you're one of the smart ones that actually has lawyers and have certain things in place to try to at least recoup something. So even if it's not for you, it's going to be for people after you pass on or something. Because out of all of that work, you deserve something, boss. Not nothing. Something.
Yeah, man. I hope I see me plant, you know. And no reap nothing. You understand? The reapers, them is out there. The rapers, them so-called rapers. So we call them rape the music. You understand? You hear them get up every day and a ball. Oh, this a race wicked and that a race wicked. And they want to do the same thing. They are doing the same thing, exploiting their brethren, their families. You understand? Human being, some of them no good. Trust me.
I hear you, boss. I got a couple more questions before I get you out of here, but I'm so glad that we got to cover that part, especially coming from somebody like you that's been around so long. I just wanted to hear what your experiences was dealing with a lot of producers and the industry on a whole.
Yeah, man, that's why I say I commend you for what you're doing, you know, because people need to tell their story. You understand? People need to tell their story, and a lot of people story that I hear, you know, I shiver, you know, but I know it's reality.
Yeah.
Because I've been there, done that, and wear the T-shirt. You understand? The other day I hear you was talking to Roned.
Yeah.
And believe you me, I was glued to the TV listening to his journey. You know, I even hear that when he mentioned that we meet up in Austria.
Yes.
I think this was about 25 years ago. Right? That showcase that we were on, he said that King Stitch was on it. He said that Rankin Trevor was on it. Well, I will correct it here, Ronan. Rankin Trevor wasn't there. Neither was King Stitch. It was Just Stitch, not King Stitch. Just Stitch and Ranking Joe, not Ranking Trevor.
Got
Right, that's just a correction. And the veterans that was there at the time was Johnny Clark, myself, Just Stitch, and I think it was, who was it? There was another veteran there, but I won't commit myself at the time. But it wasn't King Stitch, it was Just Stitch, and it was Ranking Trevor, it was Ranking Joe.
Got you.
Right, that showcase had a lot of young artists on it. Merciless was there. The Monster Shot crew, your crew. Lady Saw was there. Louis Culture was there. Anthony B was there. Baldwin was the compere. And quite a few of us was there mixing with the young group, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just a little correction, and that was a very good interview, Ronan. I commend you for that too, because you were talking from your heart. You were talking about your journey and how you help people along the journey, right? So kudos to you, brethren.
Definitely. Talking about performances here, I know in 1995 you went to Jamaica after I think it was 20 years and you performed on the Heineken Start Time. What was that like after so long of not being in Jamaica?
Yeah, that trip to Jamaica back after 20 years, man, that was something else. You know, that was my greatest moment. That was definitely my greatest moment in the music industry, because being away from Jamaica, not performing there for 20 years. When I went back, a tear fell. You understand? Because what really happened, when I go back to Jamaica, my brother used to come to the airport and meet me every time I go to Jamaica. And when me and him, I make four, there's always a big smile on his face to see me. No, he passed away. And I was thinking to myself, oh, am I going to go back to Jamaica and not see my brother? And I don't know how I would feel, you know, even though I was going there to do Heineken Start Time. But when I reached Marley Airport, someone came for me and took me around to the tourist section. And I saw this big writing on the wall, "Welcome to Jamaica, Dennis Alcapone." Right? That touched me, really touched me. I still got the picture somewhere in my house here, right? That one of my friends that was traveling with me took there, that picture with it. That now was something else, you know, that made me feel so good. That helped to heal the wound with not seeing my brother there. Anyway, when we went to that show, the welcome was really marvelous, you know, because I left Jamaica and you know, and the people were so glad to see me. I was taken back. And like I say, a tear fell.
For sure.
And I felt the Jamaican vibes, the real Jamaican vibes, you know, because I've been out of the island for so long, performing all over the world, Europe, Brazil, America, you know, Japan, you name it. You know, I even went to Bosnia, where that ethnic cleansing was going on just after the war finished. Me and Max Romeo was on that tour, right? So even the people that was asking us if we wasn't scared to come to Bosnia, knowing that the war was going on. You know, the war had just finished anyway, but you know, it was still fresh in the people's memory. And they were saying to me, and Maxie, weren't you guys scared to come here? We said, no, it's love we're dealing with our music. You know, we don't business with people who are, you know, we are here to entertain the people, them. You know, so that was it. Moses, you know, but Heineken Start Time was my greatest moment in my journey. to go back to Jamaica after 20 years and perform.
I'm glad we got
Michael Barnett was the promoter for the show.
Mhm. Good. I'm glad we got it in. A little birdie once told me something about Bob Marley being at one of your shows. Could you explain that to me?
Oh yes, when I came up 1974 to do the showcase, you have a big producer over here called Admiral Ken.
Mhm.
He put on big shows all the while in England, and he select me and Dennis Brown from the Jamaica showcase and put us with Desmond Decker, the 3Ds,
Mhm.
right? And the night at Empire Ballroom, Bob Marley came to the show. Bob Marley and Family Man and Carly, his brother, came to the show, and I actually called Bob Marley onto the stage and introduced him to the crowd. You know, I'll send you that picture, Muscle, so you can see it. I still got the picture.
For
But
sure.
I was the star at the time, so the photographer took me frontal and Bob Marley back way.
Yeah.
But anybody who know gang know that that is gang.
Mhm.
You understand? Yeah, that
That's
was a great moment. And he had just done the Catch a Fire album,
mm.
and Island was promoting him,
Mhm.
right? So that I was a little part of that promotion by calling him and introducing him to the crowd, and the crowd acknowledged him. Yes, wonderful moment.
Crazy. So he wasn't the big, massive Bob Marley as we knew yet at that time there.
No, 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 no. He wasn't the big bad Bob at the time
Mhm.
because, in hindsight, if I know how big Bob was going to get, I would take several pictures with him. Right? But me and Dennis Brown and Desmond Decker was the star for that night.
Mm.
But Dennis Brown is his favorite artist. Is him called Dennis Brown, Crown Prince of Reggae.
Okay.
So knowing that Dennis Brown was performing the night, it made it his point of duty to come and watch the show. Yeah.
That's amazing, amazing, amazing there. I got two questions before I get you out of here. With even you, Roy, because again, it was neck and neck, you and you, Roy. Was there any time that you and you, Roy, sat down, this could have been years later, and had a conversation about that situation that was going on back then?
No, but to be honest with you, Muscle, Uri is a great man,
Hmm.
but Uri wasn't such a sociable person.
Hmm.
You understand? Uri mostly keep himself to himself
Hmm.
or to him close surroundings. Because me and Uri do the show over here.
Hmm.
I will send you a poster with that as well. Me and Uri did two shows, one in London and one in Birmingham.
Hmm.
We reason, but Uri is not a man of many words that way. You
Okay.
understand? Him don't open up that way.
Hmm.
As a man is more reserved.
Hmm.
And in the last part now, Uri had the diabetes, and that was a worry to him as well. Because I remember he called me one morning and said to me, "Where is the producer?" Because the producer is supposed to bring some food to the hotel and give him,
Hmm.
knowing that he's diabetic and he's got to eat on a regular basis.
Hmm.
And the promoter didn't turn up at the hotel, and he was really cursing about that. But later on, they linked up and him get him food. But
Hmm.
I wasn't the man to really sit in a group of people and hold a conversation. He wasn't like that.
Okay.
You
Just one of
understand?
those things. Just one of those things. You understand. All right. You
Yes.
showed me. You showed me your award that you won for DJ of the Year. Tell me two other big awards that you remember that you hold dearly to your heart that you won throughout your career.
I got Muscle, can I just turn the camera when I show you something?
For sure. Let's go.
All right. This is my wall of fame. 2018. 2018, I got the Premises Award for contribution to music, Jamaica music.
Good.
Yeah, the contribution to Jamaica music. That was a very proud moment of my life as well, you know?
Yeah. Because you know that you helped lay many bricks of foundation, say that everybody else could come build upon. You were part of the foundation there.
That's it. I'm a part of the foundation, you know. I help work on the Maca to make the road smooth so that everybody else that come can get a good ride.
For sure.
You know, but they must acknowledge that there was someone there was a builder, you know, and give the builder the credit that is due to them, and don't believe that it all belongs to you. You understand?
You understand 100%.
And like I said to you, I commend a man like Lieutenant Stitchy, because anyway that man see me, you know, he give me the credit that I really deserve. You know, a lot of them is just swallowed it and don't care about other people. As I said, they are reapers, they are not planters.
It's crazy. Wow. Mr. Alcapone, this has been an epic, great conversation just to see a little glimpse into your life. It's been amazing. One thing I'm going to ask you for, even before that, are you on social media or anything where people could check out any of your music?
Yeah, man, I'm always on social media. You know, I'm on IG, I'm on Facebook, I'm on WhatsApp. You know, just Dennis Alcapone all the way. If you want to find me on any of these medias, just type in Dennis Alcapone.
And you'll find you right there.
Muscle, another thing I must tell you about a Brazilian Dennis Alcapone. Right? there's a one in Brazil at the moment, parading as Dennis Alcapone, you know. He even got his videos on YouTube.
Oh man.
And what he's using to validate himself is that whenever any big artist come to Brazil, he takes picture with them. Yeah, you must look on YouTube one at a time, and you'll see him. You know, and I'm sure him believe that him is Dennis Alcapone.
If it's not one thing, it's a next in this business, boss.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. As I say, before I get you out of here, one song that I want from you before we get you out of here is a What's Up El Paso.
One time El Paso, one time. Two time El Paso, two time. Three time El Paso, three time. Four time El Paso, four time. Aguaso, El Paso, El Paso, Aguaso. Mosquito one, mosquito two, mosquito jumping at Callaloo. Tell it to you. Yay! Scrub it. I'm on top of the world. If you want me, come and get me.
Mr. Al Capone, listen, this conversation, epic conversation. Thank you so very much for sitting down with me today and talking about your journey in the entertainment business.
It's a pleasure. It's a great pleasure. Keep up the good work, Muscles. Your work is very good, and it's acknowledged all over the world. All right? More blessings to you and your family.
Thank you. Big up to you. Big up to the wife, and big up everybody. Thank you so very much. Let me give you an outro and get you out of here. All right?
Give thanks.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out. This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinedmusichut.com.